Welcome to Viewpoint, your program with personalities, politicians, and perspectives. As always, both of you listeners, now pay attention because we've got some three really nice guests this morning. First, I'd like to make a comment. The other evening, I watched a wonderful TV special, and I want to tell you, there aren't many TV specials out there that are wonderful. But this happened to be a special subject, and the title of the subject was A Patriot Pause. And it had to do with service dogs for men and women who aid our veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, isn't that
which
good?
was called, it was a wonderful program, and it was really a neat, and a lot of volunteers, and it was just a neat program, and I was very impressed with that. In the old days, that was called that shell shock. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
That was what the name came off the fields, even in the first war. So
I remember the olden days pretty vividly.
Well, you're old enough to remember all of them.
I got them categorized too.
I just thought I'd throw that in there. All right. Why don't we get on to serious business? Last week it was picking with the chickens, and this week we have an old coop full of chickens. So go right ahead, Mrs. Busby.
Could I do a piggyback on your kudo idea?
Yes, and then I want to come back
Please,
before I turn the mic back to you. Go ahead. I have something very important to talk about.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I went to the balloon glow the other night, and I got two kudos out of it. One,
both of our listeners,
the people who participated in it. Thanks, because it's kind of a good thing, and it's so pretty. So thanks to them, and also thanks to the people who came. The cars were lined up from here to glory. It was a very nice thing to see people participating. Don't you just love it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the population of Glory?
It's just bigger than Emden.
That's a good rejoinder. Marker high. Give her good marks on that. That's a good rejoinder. So, I have something. I didn't want to tread on your name, though. Go right ahead if you.
It's okay. Go ahead. Try. See if I care.
Serious matter. Ryan Edgecombe, our chaplain at the Christian Village.
A nice man.
Yes, does a lot of nice things for us out there. He's asked me specifically to comment about the upcoming blood drive that's going to take place at the Christian Village on Wednesday. This is right around the corner. That'd be next Wednesday, September the 8th at 10:30. They're going to have the blood mobile is going to be there for us, and I'd like to urge now. Many of us who are residents out there might not be candidates to give a lot of blood, just the reality of the world. But there are a lot of young folks running around the streets out there. Maybe if I go back to Spirited Republic and Old Joe's and grab a few. But seriously, not many of us can give blood out there at the home. But I'd like very much for you to give a lot of serious consideration to supporting this blood drive. Next Wednesday, a week from today, 10:30, at the Christian home. The blood mobile will be there, and it'll be pretty obvious. So, Ryan, I hope that will help us bring a lot of people. Now, I'd like to also make another little comment that Ryan has asked me to make, and he's reminded me to remind your listeners out there, both of you who don't have anything to do out there. There are several openings for employment. Now, this is serious. There are several openings for employment out there at the Christian Village for nurses, nursing assistants, as well as just volunteers called Helping Hands. I'm pleased to be in the studios here with a lady who has done considerable volunteer work, and Judy's going to introduce her for just a minute. But Marsha, we appreciate the work that you have done, and the men always look forward to your presence until COVID kind of shut us down at the Tuesday coffee hour. So if you're looking for some work, go out to the Christian homes and make an application, or we can, if you can remember this, get your pens quickly. HALLEY at christianliving.org, ch.org. Make an application. They need some help out there.
You know, that employment business is a heck of a problem. I heard on the news just like yesterday that schools are having a terrible time getting school bus drivers. So everybody's having a hard time getting people. It's a mill of a hash. And I'm kind of blaming that business of the government with their largesse sharing with all the people. So why would I go to work when I can do just as well
don't get us
home?
started on
And
that.
I don't have
I might lose
daycare.
my job. Don't get me started there.
Well, but it this is a problem, Bill.
Well,
don't
serious.
you think?
It is a very serious problem.
Yeah.
But I
Good
think
thing
the
we got work.
Well, yeah. So if you don't hurry up and get to introduce our guests, we won't have work.
Oh yeah, that's right. I knew there was a reason you asked me to come along.
Yes. Well, you're more than a pretty face.
You think?
All right, let's get to the serious business. We have some guests who've given up their time today, and they have something important to talk about.
Yes, they certainly have.
Everybody pay attention now, quickly.
Yes. Marsha Fernandes is in veterans housing, Marsha. Yeah, now we've got plenty to talk about there. And Joe Schaler, God love him, he's a major domo of all things veterans.
He's my veteran is what
Yes,
he is.
he is. And Becky Strait, director at the Park District. Well, that ought to keep you busy.
It sure does.
Yes, it does. Good grief. Well,
Becky,
I
by the
can't
way,
thank you all
excuse me
enough.
for stepping on your line, but Becky got that
It's the
job
second
because-
time you've said that to me.
I'll do that often every once in a while. But I kind of just wanted to just quickly mention that Becky came to us with considerable qualifications. She has her master's degree from the University of Illinois. So salute to Becky.
Well, I'll tell you, you're way ahead of me, sweetie.
So,
Got a lot more life experience though, so that's always good.
Well, just
Becky,
by age.
let's just tip the football forward and swing. Let's take Becky first. Tell us why you're here about the Park District, because you've got something very important that's coming up here.
We do. Well, the Park District is partnering with the Central Illinois Veterans Commission to host a 9.11K run. So we are here to talk about that in part today. So Joe and Marsha have been working with us, we've been working with them rather, really, to help them work out the details for this run that we're going to host to commemorate the 9/11, the 20th anniversary of 9/11. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years already.
Yeah, it is.
But we are working with
That's
them
hard to
on
believe.
that. So the other thing is we are doing on September 10th, which will be the night before, our first ever Hometown Hero Family Mud Run. So this is just a fun family event that's going to be a 1-mile mud run out at Memorial Park in Lincoln. And we are going to be donating the proceeds to Scott Brown's Memorial Scholarship Fund for that. So that was something we wanted to talk about today and just get out with all of our
I think
listeners.
you're even going to have to start, it'd be very elementary, but we might even have to have defining our terms here.
So a mud run is really, it's an obstacle course, but we have mud in the mix too. So there'll be some places where you're going to get muddy along the way, and you'll have to climb up and over things. You might have to crawl under some things. You might have to use your agility to go through some different obstacles there.
It sounds like
Rope
fun.
swinging, yes.
Well,
so
good. We'll sign you up. You would be a seniors banner.
I suppose you don't wear your church clothes, right?
probably not. Not a good idea. We're asking people if they want to dress up. They can dress up as a hometown hero, which they want to be a policeman, a fireman, a nurse, anything like that. Or if they just want to be a superhero, that's fine too. They can dress up as a superhero. So we'd love to get some good costumes out there, but you're going to get them dirty. That's
Such
the thing.
fun.
Yes.
Well, I think I'd like to call attention to the fact I have your brochure in front of me here. The proceeds are going to be dedicated to the Scott Brown Memorial Scholarship Fund. that, ladies and gentlemen, now I want to be very serious about this. This is a very, very wonderful scholarship. Scott Brown had an impact on tons of young men and probably young ladies too, and his mentoring on the Taekwondo. Now, I don't know what Taekwondo is, except it's martial arts of some sort, and obviously it came from the Chinese background, Oriental background, I presume. But in any event, it's not only teaching kids how to go about being a Taekwondo contender, but they walked out of his jurisdiction being better kids, because Scott Brown was a marvelous gentleman and sorely missed in the community. And this is a chance to do something. And so I urge Becky, I'm going to pass the baton to you. And so
yeah, I just want to say I think Scott was the epitome of a hometown hero. I really
well said.
Saw the impact. Even personally, my kids went to Taekwondo with Scott, and you just couldn't meet Scott without loving him, and he just radiated that love to everyone around him, and you could see how much he cared, how much he instilled in these young people, and I think there's not a lot of that these days. I think
we need so much more of that, and kids is where you have to invest that. It's a little late to change me too much. You know, I'm probably who I'm going to be.
Right.
But with kids, if you love them and teach them, you can make some real pathways.
Absolutely. And I think that the whole community is definitely feeling the loss there with Scott. But, you know, I saw Scott out at the Park District training with some of his students, even outside of, you know, Taekwondo. He gave of his time, he gave of his energy, his humor was ever present, and I think that those sorts of things have an impact long lasting on the youth and on our community as a whole.
Yes.
So those
Scott Brown led by example.
He absolutely did.
He lived his life as an example, and and he's one of the. I know that Mark Landers misses a man like Scott Brown on his staff in the sheriff's department.
Oh yes.
Every day.
Yes.
Because he was a kind of a go-to guy. So in any event, don't want to get maudlin about this. September the 10th.
September the 10th at 6 p.m. we are going to start that, and it's for anybody ages 5 and up. We've had it to where people can register as a team or family of 4, or if they want to pay individually, they can register as an adult or child. And then anybody ages 2 to 5 can also participate, but we'll have a little bit of a smaller race for them. That's
not such a deep mud hole.
Yes, not such a deep mud hole, not such a long way to go for their little legs. So ages 2 to 5 will have a 250-yard dash with some obstacles that they can complete.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's address your work with the Park District now. I asked you off air how the attendance was. COVID has had a tremendous impact on so many things. And
it has.
We've all had to readjust our schedules and so forth. So let's talk about the Park District and how we're doing out there.
I think our attendance levels have definitely recovered since COVID initially started and we had to shut down and all of that last year. So it's been on the up and up, I think, you know, since we've kind of gotten to the reopening phase. Unfortunately, now that we have the indoor mask mandate, I think that we might start to see some numbers falling, just because it is difficult to work out and exert yourself and have to do that with a mask on.
Right.
And there haven't been any caveats or anything released by the governor as far as further guidance along with that mandate. So unfortunately, that's something that we're just dealing with, hopefully temporarily here. So
now we're going to slide gears, hopefully without clashing them. Marsha Fernandes, I almost said the D word again. Fernandes. I got it right this time. I've been pronouncing this lady's her name wrong from the day I first met her, because that D was in there. And Joe Schaler. If there was ever a veteran, it's Joe Schaler. And I say this with great respect. We've all known about, and we're going to get some new information on the tiny house on the corner of 6th Street and College Street. They completed what was known as the tiny house. And not only did they turn this house over to the gentleman, but his family, excuse me, please, it's all right to get choked up about this, a serious matter. When that gentleman and his family walked in there, the refrigerator was full, the kitchen cabinets were stocked. A real turnkey operation. And part of the moving force back there was the veteran, Mr. Joe Schaler. And Marsha is, I want to say the right-hand man, that's wrong German now. So the right-hand person in working with this. And so I turn the mic over to whichever you want to speak first about the go ahead, Joe.
All right. Well, thank you. I was listening to the pre-show, so we've got two things now. I've never been in the presence of someone who's been recognized by Ripley's, so I'm honored for
Yes.
that. And we set another record. We have 6 people in the booth and a cat. So we managed to set another record there. But we're quickly we finalized Monday morning about 7:30 that we're going to move forward on October 10th. Will be the date that Saturday when we're going to raise the walls on the second house. And the pre-build will be the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then we'll get ready on the 10th with a dedication the following Sunday on the 17th. So we're going to be back looking to get 2 of 4 signed, and we're going to be looking, of course, for continued donations, volunteers, and nominations. So if you have someone you want to nominate, or you're a veteran, want to nominate yourself to be considered for the house, and we are going to build another one after this one, so we need to get that done. You can go to contact.civeteran.org to send an email, or you can go on civeteran.org, pull down an application for a nomination. But we're excited about it. The last part of the last driveway is being poured as we speak, so the concrete work will all be done. And now we can just focus on putting the house up. So that should be hopefully a 10-day process from pre-build until we turn it over to him. We'll have it all in place, ready to go for the next veteran. So we're excited about that. And we've got some folks outside of Lincoln who are starting to look at us, and we're on a podcast next week with Ameren that's going to go across 3 states about what we're doing, and we have another group coming down from the Quad Cities that wants to take a look at what we're doing. We got folks in Springfield and Decatur. So it's just kind of a barometer that we must be doing something right, and we know we're doing something right. So it's very gratifying. And Marsha has pulled so many moving parts together to make this work, because there's so much that has to be done ahead of time and during those 10 days to make this work that most people don't see. And we're going to talk about the 9/11 race in our ceremony afterwards here. But she is, she'll tell you she's been my arms and legs, and I think that this wouldn't happen without her. So, and Becky and Jennifer out the Park District working with them on this 9/11 race. It's been an awesome experience to see this come together between the race and the ceremony afterwards. So I'm excited about having that too, the 20th anniversary.
There are two things we need. We need money.
Money.
So let's don't forget that, folks. These things don't happen without somebody stepping in and contributing.
Right.
And this community has been very good about that. And so I'd like to thank those who have done their part and urge those who haven't. This is an opportunity. The second thing we need, volunteers.
Yep.
You didn't raise those walls in 8 days for the first house without a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of volunteers, we have some people who volunteer to be commercial on this. And once again, Judy and I get involved in things, and I forget them. So with all apologies to our, go right ahead, Mr. Ash. Right back live in the studios here. The program, of course, is Viewpoint. We appear each Wednesday morning, 08:15 to 0900 hours. Our guest this morning, some special guests this morning, Marsha Fernandes, and was I close there? I want to make sure I got myself straightened out. And Becky Strait, representing our Lincoln Park District, which does a whale of a job for a lot of people out there. And Becky's a bright young lady and is in charge of a lot of projects. So we appreciate your spending your time with us this morning, Miss Strait.
Yeah.
And the veteran, I salute him every time I see him, Joe, what's his last name?
Oh, what's his name?
Joe Schaler. Joe, no, seriously now, when you came here, we didn't have a Veterans Commission, and that was one of your goals. And as a result of your efforts, and I think I'm correct in this, straighten me out, sir. As a result of Mr. Schaler's efforts, we now have a Veterans Commission in what was I believe it's the Logan building, what was the former bank next to our library there. And so a word about that, if you will, please, Joe.
Well, we've had the...
Speak up, Joe. Don't be shy.
We've been very fortunate that we've had the VAC now. This month, I believe, is Dan's 5th anniversary as our superintendent, and
It's hard to believe.
It's been a godsend for many veterans. The compensation alone that he has been able to provide veterans, we probably are approaching $1 million, and this was not, we were very blessed when we worked hard to get a levy passed to support the VAC, and it was overwhelmingly passed, and we've just seen some great things happen over the last few years, and it will continue to grow. We're offering. We've gotten to a point that we've partnered with SIU, providing additional mental health resources for our veterans for free. We now provide dental services every 6 months for them free for the uninsured veterans. And the list just goes on and on. We have a discount package with the Lincoln Park District where our veterans can join regardless if they're in or out of the district and be treated as if they're in district, plus receive a discount, and that's gone very well. So we're trying to bring as many resources to Logan County as you would find in any of the major cities, and I think we've been pretty successful. We have a lot of work to do, but we've been very successful at it, and the support from the community has just been awesome. So, yeah. Well,
A lot of us, I'm speaking now of this Second War generation, we just came home, went to work, and that was that.
Yeah.
And have gone along day after day after day and month after month.
Yeah.
No problems. And we're just a part of the society. Some folks come home with a serious problem, and it's no fault of theirs. That's just what it is. And veterans need help. And through Joe's efforts, we now have a Veterans Commission right here for somebody to veteran has a problem, he'd go right down to Danny Fredericks, and by the way, special hours. And so it's for those who have problems, and those of us who don't have problems can't begin to imagine how serious some of these problems are. So that's why I always kind of salute Joe, because he made it easier, has made it easier for a lot of veterans who need some help. And by the way, we have another veteran with us, Mrs. Strait. She's an Air Force. I almost said Air Corps. That was my time. Air Force veteran. So thank you, and we're going to give you 3 minutes while you give us your version of "Off We Go Into the Wild Blue Yonder."
You don't want me to sing that. You really don't.
But seriously, what was your what we call MOS, your military occupational specialty?
I was an operations intelligence analyst.
Why am I
Intelligence, I knew that.
Marsha? That doesn't surprise me a little bit. So, welcome. Where were you last served before you became a civilian again?
I was stationed, I just served 4 years, so I was stationed in Las Vegas at Nellis Air Force Base, and I served all my 4 years there. I had training in Texas. I was deployed on 2 occasions to Iraq, and also I went to Africa, which was a little bit of a unique experience. A lot of people don't get to go there, so.
Well, thank you for that service.
Yes.
It's very necessary, very needed. Now, we have September the 11th, Mrs. Busby. I'm going to pass the baton to you.
Oh, okay.
Because we have something very important that has to do with veterans, so go right ahead here. We're going to have a 9.1K, or 9.11K.
Race
That's
and
kilometers,
walk.
in case you didn't know.
Well, I didn't. In fact, I didn't know anything about this till this very minute.
Well, I blindsided her again.
I hope
Marsha
I'm a
can
quick
tell you
reader.
all about it. Why don't you just ask Marsha
Marsha,
about
go
it?
That
ahead.
would be just the smart thing to do. Thank you. I can see why you were in intelligence. I never was myself.
Go right ahead, Miss
Well,
Fernandes.
if you need a sidekick and Judy needs to take a vacation, you know you can call on
There you go.
Becky, right? She'll fill right in for
Yeah,
you.
but then they'll never let me come back because I've already had somebody intelligent.
Thank you for letting me be here this morning and talk
Thank
about
you.
talk about this event. It's 20 years. It is hard to believe, like Becky said. Before I talk about this, I want to back up with Joe's conversation about the Central Illinois Veterans Commission and the nominations for the next tiny house. You can go to our website, as he mentioned, civeteran.org, or you can call us. We do have a phone number. It's a flip phone. It isn't any fun to operate it, but you can reach us at 217-828-9366, and we will mail you a form. So either way,
Good.
we are easily accessible. On Saturday, September 11th, we will be having a 9.11K, and for those trying to do the math, it's 5.66 miles. It will start downtown. The runners will have a route through the town that they will be greeted with squad cars and fire engines and EMS all along the route, because this day is for them. And we will be doing a 1 mile walk from the wreck downtown. So the runners will start in downtown, and the walkers will come from the wreck and in downtown. Everyone will convene there probably close to 9:45, 10 a.m. and 10:15. There'll be a ceremony with our first responders that Joe's been working on the program, and he can fill you in more about that. That's what the day is mostly all about. But we've had a fabulous response from the first responders when we've met with them about what they'd like for this ceremony to look like. And we are, obviously paying respect to all the folks that lost their lives that day, their families they left behind, and the folks who have done tours of duty overseas and the war on terror, and all the lives that have been lost. The Young Conservatives, Katie Wright, and their group are going to be placing flags on the courthouse lawn. 2,977 flags for
Oh, my
every life
goodness.
Is
lost
that
day.
right? Bless their
So they're
hearts.
going to actually put that up do you remember the date?
6th.
On the 6th of September, and it will be up for a week, or nearly a week, for people to see. And if that doesn't take your breath away, I don't know what would.
Nothing will.
No.
That's right.
And the ladder trucks are going to be downtown on the day of the race with the big old flag hanging between them, and so there's going to be a lot of patriotism and honor and respect, reverence that day, and well deserved for all those folks that were paying homage to.
And we'd like to see a big crowd down there to support
Yes,
this project.
yes.
Now say the date again.
September 11th, Saturday. The race starts at 8:30 downtown with registration beforehand. And at the Park District, the walk will start at 9 with registration beforehand. You can go to Run, R-U-N, Sign, S-I-G-N, Up, runsignup.com, and you can register there, or you can register at the Park District beforehand. And the ceremony is slated to start around 10:15. I think it should last about 30 minutes. And so, please come.
Oh, yes.
So 30 minutes in the life of anybody out there is not a big deal.
Right.
Unless you're in a COVID bed, and I don't want to be facetious about that at all. I'm being very serious. So think about that, folks. Show up at the courthouse around 10 o'clock.
Right.
Be a nice thing to support all those who are participating.
Yes.
And I may even try to line Judy
We'll
up for
go.
that.
We'll go.
Yeah, we'll go. But
I want to notice and appreciate the Park District for their participation in this event. 75% of the proceeds from this event, the race and the walk, will come back to the Central Illinois Veterans Commission to help build more houses. And so, like Bill mentioned, we're always looking for money. So this is a fundraiser event for us, and we hope for a lot of participants.
In your capacity as being in charge of veterans housing, I'd like to ask you a little more about the tiny homes. I was wondering if that idea originated here in Lincoln, America, and how you came up with this, and what the future looks like for it. Joe, you gonna handle that?
wake up, Joe.
Speak right up, Joe.
It's his baby, yeah.
Excuse me. We the short story is making a trip to Quincy to the veterans home as they were overloaded with wheelchairs, and the Marine Corps League here, Bill Dennis, heading that up, that rehabbing the wheelchairs, putting them out for veterans that may need them. And in the course of one of those trips, we met up with Chris and Mark Lawrence, who are the founders of Two Before for Hope. Had lunch with them, went and looked at their homes they had built in Quincy, and was very impressed. And it was just about the time that I had been called and was given a heads up that the LDC homes were going to become part of a juvenile detention center. So we knew we were done with that after a number of years of trying to get that done, and we just seemed to meet the people from Two Before about the same time. And we started a conversation with them, and decided that we could partner up in building these 3 homes at Sixton College. And they are very, very professional about building these homes. When Mark and I were trying to lay out the foundation for the first home, we had to get within 1/8 of an inch to set those forms to pour.
Just a little bit exacting, wasn't it?
Yeah, he is very much a perfectionist. There is nothing cheap that goes into these homes. They are built to be long-term, sustainable, maintenance-free homes, and everything is first class that goes into them. They want no problem for the veteran. They don't want them to have a problem with anything there. So it's been a good marriage, and we have been able to provide the funding, which makes all this work. We've been able to come up with, I know the first day of the putting the walls up in July, the first home, that Saturday morning we had 60 volunteers there, and it was pretty overwhelming to see that take place. And I think for the volunteers to be a part of that, to realize what they were doing, they were creating something much bigger than themselves, and to see all those signed 2x4s being erected and become part of this home, that's a life-changing experience for many of them. And our expectation is that we're going to see a lot of those same folks come back for the second home, for the third home, and hopefully bring someone with them, and realize how much that they are changing a person's life when they're doing this. And we are humbled to be a part of it, that we get to have some part to play in this, and to see this continue to go forward. And we've had a lot of help doing it, obviously, and I couldn't do it without everything that Marsha's done and our board has done. Dan Benedict and Rachel Olney, Chuck Gonzo, and we just added Patty Becker to it from that has helped us a lot with grants. So it was a great God wink that this happened, that we both met at the right time in the right place. So,
well, it's extremely, extremely remarkably beneficial for those who will receive the home. Somebody said, well, that's awful small. And I said, to somebody who's been homeless or sleeping in a car, that's a mansion.
It's very spacious inside.
yes.
And so,
Deceiving.
Well,
It's deceiving.
You see, you can arrange these small places. We all know this from going camping or the kinds of
Sure.
entertainments we have.
Right.
That you can make something seem a lot bigger than it is. But there are those for whom this type housing wouldn't quite work. Now, Marsha, maybe you'd like to expand a little bit.
And so then the person is chosen before the build begins,
Oh, yes.
just in case we need to change things. And I'll also mention, of course, everything is...
So they're kind of personalized,
Yeah,
really.
It's absolutely personalized, right down to the color scheme inside the house.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And
Good.
as it turns out, Scott Jackson had his decorating. He liked the Southwestern, and there's a picture that we found that we hung over his bed that was very pretty, blues and golds feathers, and he didn't know that we knew. It was just a total accident, another God wink, actually. And he walked in and saw that big photograph over the head of his bed and just took his breath away.
just personalized the whole thing, didn't
Yes,
it?
yes,
Bless
sir.
his
Right
heart.
down to dog biscuits in the jar for his puppy.
Is
Yes.
that-
I'm about to,
Wow.
we're about to run out of time, and I don't want to forget this. Who would like to talk about the Veterans Fundraiser, Marsha or Joe? Or maybe Becky, that Mr. Schaler is pointing to, Ms. Fernandes. The Veterans Fundraiser on Lincoln, September the 25th.
Lincoln Banquet Center, yes.
Yes.
There's a, it was postponed from October last year because of COVID. Brushville is playing. We have live auction items. We have silent auction items. Flossie's and Delzina's is going to do the catering. We have sold 35 tables of 10.
Wow.
And so we're hoping for a really great crowd, and there'll be a lot of things going on, 50-50 drawing, and the food we know will be wonderful. Brushville's a great band, and it should be a lot of fun. The money raised is being divided up against the 7 veteran organizations that are listed on our flyer: the Marine Corps League, the VFW, American Legion, 48, and Pardon me?
Purple Heart.
Purple Heart, folks.
Purple Heart.
Yeah.
Right. And the Purple Heart Auxiliary. So.
Mr. Schaler, you want to say something, sir? Before we're just about running out of time, sir.
Yeah. No, well, first off, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and if anything, just remember about 9/11, not only the race but the ceremony, and we're going to try to make that an honorable ceremony. I think that's probably where I'd leave it right there.
We appreciate it. Ms. Strait, do you have a final comment you'd like to make with them, my dear?
No, I appreciate you guys having us on and the kind words, and if everybody wants to come out and honor our hometown heroes, the weekend of 9/11 is going to be it. The mud run's on September 10th at 6 p.m. and then the next morning we've got the 9.11K. Registration starts at 7 a.m. and 7:30 for that. So come out and join us,
Becky
please.
Strait, Marsha Fernandes, and Joe Schaler, three folks who have contributed a lot to our community. We appreciate your giving of your time, and we hope we've been able to get some information out that's important. I'm a proud old veteran, and it's with emphasis on old, and those days are that sun's about to set. So thank you very much for Viewpoint. We hope you've enjoyed your morning.